Hello, StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. This is a game between Harstem and MaNa on Ruins of Seras. This is from Katowice 2016, the Challenger round. And let's go ahead and introduce these players, who are being very nice to each other with the GLGL and the Have Fun. In the bottom right side of the map, we have the red Protoss player. It is MaNa, representing Team Liquid. And in the bottom left side of the map, we have the green Protoss player. It is Harstem, representing Invasion Esport. We've seen quite a bit of Harstem recently on the channel. His series against, who's this been? Harstem? Holy smokes, PVT Massa. Harstem versus Massa. A lot of those games on my channel recently. Some very, very good matches. If you haven't seen them, I recommend going back and watching them. Very good PVT. Put a link in the top right there. But this is going to be our PvP. I try to do one of these about every week or so, just because I know a bunch of you are playing Protoss on the ladder. And as a result, you come up against other Protoss. So it's just good to see what the pros are doing against other people who are mirror matched up to them. ZVZs and TVTs I try to highlight as well, just to keep everybody on the same page. All right, so MaNa going for looks like a standard one gate expand here. Gateway into Nexus. Thinking about it, saving up money. Yeah, that's going to be a Nexus. Meanwhile, Harstem going for a double gas opener with 2 gateways. Definitely not going one gate expand. Instead, getting that gas out early. Wow. Has 2 workers on the gas. Is he going to get a third one here? I don't know why he wouldn't. All right. So just 2 there and 3 here. I wonder if that's intentional from Harstem or if that's actually an accident. Seems like it possibly could be, but we'll come back to that a little bit later. Probe scouting things out by MaNa. Did manage to see everything here. If we take a look. A probe did see the 2-gate opening, did see the cyber core and the early gas. Notice there was not an expansion. Recognized it was a 1-base play and is heading back on home. Didn't actually see the second assimilator that does now have 3 workers in it, but I'm not sure that changes Liquid MaNa's understanding of what's going on at all. Cybernetics core finishing for MaNa. What's going to happen here over in the red Protoss base? Cybernetics core researching warp gate research. And another gateway coming up. That Nexus is about 60-70% complete. Meanwhile, we do have some stalkers coming out of 2 gates and warp gate research as well for Harstem. On the way. What is okay. I thought I saw some green up here. There is a proxy Twilight Council coming up for Harstem. So either blink for the stalkers or a Dark Shrine is on the way. And I just feel like we're going to see Dark Shrine. We're going to see a 1-base Dark Templar rush here from Harstem with a proxy Dark Shrine and Twilight Council. Now, MaNa, again, understand what's going on here. Understands the probability this is Dark Templar is very, very high. Understands it could be a Stargate too. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in for another quick look to see what that tech is. But as it stands, he's not going to find anything because it's all up here. Twilight Council finishing 500 out of 500 hit points. And there goes the Dark Shrine. All right, so Harstem with the Dark Shrine off of 1 base trying to kill him some MaNa. Can he pull it off? We'll just have to wait and see. Stalkers here for defense. Mothership Core here for defense. Has enough for 1 Photon Overcharge. It is 50 energy in the current patch of StarCraft 2. 2 Stalkers and a Mothership Core is enough to hold off a lot from an opposing Protoss player. Stalkers here chasing away the probe that was holding the Xel'Naga Watchtower. They're going to head on out here too. And Probe, having done his work up in this area, is going to head down south and try to throw down a proxy pylon. There it is. MaNa is looking for this. You can see this probe running around all over the place and will actually scout it in about 3.8 seconds. Bam! Finds the pylon, finds the proxy pylon. Ah, Harstem, bad luck there for sure. The probe comes back around, says, is that a pylon? It is! It is a pylon. Stab it with lightning. Nope, not going to happen. Can't actually take that pylon down by his lonesome, but having scouted it is enough. All right, yeah, as we can see here, robotics facility on the way for MaNa. Going to get that observer here as time necessitates. And actually getting a robotics facility back in Harstem's base too. So there's a base now coming up. It is just so late for Harstem. This second base is so far behind compared to MaNa. Income tab showing 25 to 31 total harvesters. MaNa definitely in the lead on that count. Oops, stalkers do take down that scouting probe. And here it is, throwing up a gateway. So MaNa recognizes that the warp-in time for pylons, unless they are touching... Oh, cancels the gateway. Okay, to finish the thought, pylons that are touching gateways or nexuses have warp-in times of 2 seconds. Ones that are not have warp-in times of 16 seconds. So as you can see here, it's just really slow warp-in timing. And there it is. So an Adept and a Dark Templar ready to go, going to join up with these Stalkers. But at the front line, we have a whole bunch of Stalkers, an Adept, a Zealot, a Mothership Core with the ability to throw down 3 photon overcharges. The Adept tries to sneak on in and get some stuff done. Look at that green shade. That is pretty from Harstem. And actually going to finish that transfer. Get up here, get a couple shots off on the Nexus. That's not what he intended at all. And yeah, going to get maybe a probe. Can you get a probe there, Adept? I believe in you. Yes, 1 before she falls to her sisters wearing red. And the Stalkers decide to head on back home. The DT is trying to make sure a 4th Nexus doesn't come up anytime soon, which I don't think, I mean, this is a 3rd base, right? Nobody goes for a 3rd base anywhere but here, especially not MaNa. So this is going to be a 4th Nexus, which seems like, I mean, a weird place to lay vigil, but actually no, Warp Prism swoops on by, picks up the Dark Templar, and sends it off on a mission. Some interesting ideas in Harstem's head right now. How's that income tab looking? 37 to 38 total harvesters. MaNa is in the lead, but Harstem not too far behind. MaNa actually supply blocked here. Temporarily, there goes the pylon, up to 72 out of 78 total supply. Warp Prism heading out, does get scouted by the Observer. Scouted by these pylons, decides to go for it anyway. And going to go ahead and drop the DT and try to escape before the Stalkers snipe it down. They don't manage to do so. DT going to go for some kills. 3 kills. Oh, they actually killed their own probe there by accident. Oh no, MaNa. Picking up and getting out of there. The Warp Prism picks up the DT that I think, again, got maybe 2 kills there, which is fine. Which is just fine. Let's see. Workers lost tabs. 7 workers killed by Harstem to 0 for MaNa. So, hey, doing so far so good is Harstem. What's going on in this robotics facility? An Observer after 2 Immortals have been popped out here too. Again, Immortals very good in PvP. This right here, 50 damage versus Armored. Considering Stalkers, very popular in PvP. As we can see, these Stalkers here for MaNa, they take that extra damage as they are armored mechanical units. Adepts trying to take down a pylon. Their damage against buildings is abysmal. 10 damage unless it's attacking a light unit. And no, actually transferred out of there before the pylon died. Bad timing there by MaNa. Oh no, bad timing. Hallucinated Phoenix scouting on in. Does see the Twilight Council getting blink. Does see a couple more gateways coming out. And the Stalker count looking great for MaNa. 89 to 91 total supply. Harstem is somehow in the lead. Somehow in the lead. Oversaturated here on this base. Should really think to be taking a 3rd Nexus here at some point. The Immortals are worth their weight in gold right now, as there's only 1 Immortal for MaNa. Positioning going to play a very big part in any upcoming attacks. Robotics Bay on the way for Harstem. Blink just about to finish for MaNa. And +1 grind weapons on the way for our green Protoss player. Finally, the Zealot finishes the work the Adepts could not do. Ends up getting a kill. It is a pylon. Now again, that increases his kill count by 1, but I'm sure he doesn't go home and brag to his friends and family about how he went out there and killed a pylon all by himself. There's not a whole lot of honor in that, I have to imagine. So he says, please consider me with 0 kills until I've actually proven myself worthy in battle. And Zealots in PvP, man, I mean, they're basically cannon fodder. Unless they have charge, unless they have really good shield upgrades, they just die so fast to everything that's usually in this army. Adept running away, using Psionic Transfer, hopefully to live. Ah, it actually does manage to live. Oh, canceling though. Decides to head back for the Defense Force right here. Warp Prism for MaNa, trying to sneak on in. No static defense whatsoever in this position. Going to attack at the front while attacking in the back. Double Photon Overcharge, though, coming up, though, with the Mothership Core and the Blink Stalkers. Get rid of this Nexus. Well played indeed. Pylon dead. There's no way this is going to survive. These guys have no upgrades, but it doesn't matter. Canceling the Nexus there. Good positioning as well. Sniping down a Stalker. Does MaNa and sneaking up again for another attack with these Adepts. These 2 of them are very low on health, but I think that's a-okay as far as they're concerned, because there's nothing here. There's a Disruptor for Harstem. If he can get a Purification Nova off and catch those Adepts. No! Nice pickup there by MaNa, keeping them alive, babysitting his units very well indeed. And the Stalkers back off. So MaNa canceling the Nexus for his opponent, has a 3rd Nexus of his own. It is 48 to 49 Harvesters, but as I said before, really oversaturated here at this base is Harstem. And at this base too, he needs that 3rd, and having it canceled really hurt his macro and his decision making throughout the game. So +1/+1 on the way again for these players. +1 attack just now finishing up for Harstem. MaNa working on it, just getting it started. Disruptors on the way for Harstem. We actually haven't seen Disruptors in a PvP for a while. And I don't think we're actually going to see any Disruptor tennis, because MaNa is not getting Disruptors of his own. I wonder if that's a mistake. I wonder if it is. They sniped down a single Stalker. Purification Nova sent out harmlessly, whiffs out on the open Serengeti. This isn't actually Serengeti. This is more... What is this more like? It's more like a jungle, obviously, here with the trees and the patches and the stones, like a Mayan jungle more than anything else. So third base is up, happily mining. This base is just now completing for Harstem. 123 to 145 total supply. Harstem is down. This stalker count is so darn high for MaNa, though. Can he blink up into the main base? He's going to try to do it. There's the mass blink into the main base. Can Harstem even follow? He does have blink, but he doesn't have enough to do this thing. Immortals taking out a couple adepts. They're very distracted back there. Taking down the mothership core very quickly, going after this robotics facility. Purification Nova comes up and blinks out of it. MaNa, masterfully done. Another grid split. Takes out a few stalkers anyway. Disruptors are staying alive, which is really only Harstem's hope right now. His only hope. Purification Nova again actually hitting his own stuff. No, hitting this Immortal, picking them up, backing them out. Attacks on all fronts right now. These stalkers are darn near still alive. Taking out probes down here. That +1 attack not quite finished yet is benefiting Harstem to this point. These probes running around. Can the stalkers get rid of this Nexus before they all end up dead? Bringing units up to the high ground again. Immortals joining a Purification Nova. Oh, big Purification Nova killing a bunch of stalkers there. 12 kills. Another couple Novas come up and explosions, fireworks. A lot of stalkers getting killed here. Those guys blinked out, though. I think they survived. Meanwhile, some adepts up here trying to kill a gateway, which, again, a little bit anticlimactic. Time warp being thrown down. A lot of these probes are going to die. Just bouncing back and forth here. Stalker versus Stalker. It looks like MaNa still has the higher Stalker count, if just barely, but no, he decides to retreat with the 4 stalkers that are left. Harstem has decided to live from this point on. Oh, Warp Prism, 10 hit points remaining. Can it? Blinks up and finishes off the Warp Prism. Ends up completely dead there. So, units killed, 64 to 47. MaNa's killed a lot of units, but so has Harstem. More, in fact. 11 to 15 workers killed by each of these players. Very close to this point. Did not lose this Nexus. Was very close to losing this Nexus. 54 hit points remaining there. A couple more volleys from the stalkers would have done it, but it didn't. Immortals in production for both of these players. Here comes Harstem pushing forward once again. Stalker Immortal. Purification Nova. Bam. Almost hitting his own units there. Got to be careful there, Harstem. Pushing forward with a 107 and 94 total supply advantage here. The Immortals are trying to get in for a good angle to attack. Actually catching a stalker with that Nova, but coming from the top side, another Nova. Great split once again from MaNa. Can they take down that Immortal? No, the Immortal gets out of there just in time. Incredible control there from MaNa. Another Nova comes through, and no, blinking forward is MaNa. Another Nova catching a couple stalkers there. A stalker here and a stalker there. Immortals are all gone for MaNa, though. And actually all gone for Harstem, too. But 2 more reinforcing ones come from this direction. Disruptors here, too. Enough stalkers to cover, I think. But Harstem decides it's time to back on out. Instead, he does pull back. Pulls back. This base here, or this Xel'Naga Watchtower, is being held by this probe. Very bravely of you, Mr. Probe. Or Mrs. Probe, whatever you may be. Another base coming up for Harstem, taking that 4th base we talked about so long ago. No such thing for MaNa. Harstem liking his position, his siege position here. Immortals in production for MaNa, but there are already 2 here with the +2 attack, too. +2. No +2 on the way for MaNa. That's going to hurt quite a bit. Trying to move out with these stalkers and get some damage on. Actually picking up some reinforcing stalkers. And a sentry? Oh, well played here by MaNa. Down 104 to 82 total supply, but picking off reinforcements is brilliant. However, now these stalkers are kind of trapped, unless they manage to escape, and they kind of do. So nicely done, stalkers, getting the heck on out of there, picking up some reinforcements, taking them down of Harstem's, forcing Harstem back to a position that he doesn't want to be in. He doesn't want to defend, he wants to attack right now. Stalker does manage to escape as well to join the rest of his brethren. Stalker, Disruptor, Immortal upgrades again do benefit Harstem. Number of bases benefit Harstem too, unless MaNa can sneak on in here and get rid of this 4th base. It looks like he's trying to do so. Does he know about it? No, he doesn't know about it, but he comes up here anyway. Just might as well check for it, and he does. Nicely done. Good game sense by MaNa. Can Harstem save this Nexus? The stalkers come on in. It looks like Harstem's stalker count is fairly even. 16 to 13. Yes, Harstem has more stalkers. Harstem has more Immortals and Disruptors. I just feel like Army Supply definitely benefiting Harstem right now. 50 to 51 worker, but 76 to 50 total supply in favor of Harstem right now. So Harstem looking good. MaNa trying to make this thing work with just pure Stalker, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough. I mean, Stalkers are good, but this number of Immortals, every shot from an Immortal just hits like a hammer against these Stalkers. That probe finally dies after holding the Xel'Naga Watchtower so valiantly for so long. Now it is Harstem's Xel'Naga Watchtower, as this 4th base is happily being mined from by Harstem. And MaNa slowly falling more and more behind. It looks like he maybe wants to take a fourth here, scouting it out with these Adepts. And going to try to take out this Stalker all by their lonesome. Very difficult to do because, again, Stalkers are armored and Adepts are really, really set to kill light units instead. Army sitting up here gets a nice scout off again by MaNa's units. Any upgrades here yet? Getting +2 attack on the way, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough, as +2 has already finished for Harstem. No shield upgrades and no armor upgrades either, but you don't usually see shield upgrades in games unless they go super long. Warp Prism here for MaNa. 4 Adepts on the inside. A small skirmish up here. Stalker versus something. And taking the 4th base here, it looks like MaNa decides not to go to this direction, but here comes Harstem, 151 to 122 total supply, pushing on up with the Stalkers. Purification Nova comes right on in, forcing MaNa back. It's more of a zoning ability, honestly. Catching, 2 of the Immortals. Enacting their barriers and catching 2 of them, too. Amazing Purification Nova hits there from Harstem. Another attempt here. There are Disruptors of Liquid Mana's own now. Disruptor count. We are going to see that Disruptor tennis we haven't seen for so long. And going to try to catch these units here. Purification Nova again coming in. Does not manage to catch anything at all. Another Nova. And no! Blinking forward is Harstem. Purification Nova catching a couple of those Immortals. And a lot of casualties on Harstem's side. But MaNa losing a lot here too. Purification Novas catching a few units here and there is enough to force Harstem back. I do not know. The Immortals and more Disruptors sneaking on in. Stalker count looking pretty good. These Adepts, is this all that MaNa has left? I don't know. They're all completely gone. Now laying complete siege to this 3rd base. Another couple Purification Novas come up, actually weakening those Immortals immensely, down to 56 total hit points. But MaNa down 81 to 130 total supply here. More Novas coming on in. Catching probes. And that's it. A GG from MaNa. MaNa is defeated. Harstem's victorious, and MaNa has left the game. Yeah, so Harstem, I would have thought for sure after that initial Dark Templar rush didn't do much of anything at all to MaNa. I didn't think he'd be able to come back at all, but he expanded. He dealt with the loss of this base. He managed to hold off an attack there. Not losing that 3rd base was such a huge moment. Again, 54 hit points left. Keeping that alive was a big deal. He dealt with a ton of Blinkstalkers in his main too. Managed to hold it off with the Disruptor count. MaNa, by the time he got his own Disruptors, his own upgrades, it was too late. Harstem got his upgrades going. Immortal count again was always higher. 4 kills on that Immortal, 10 kills on that Immortal. Disruptors, 9 kills, 4 kills, 0 there. 13 kills on that Disruptor too. Just amazingly effective use of the units that he had by Harstem. And he takes the win. So that's it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit the subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter and Facebook, both at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.